Johnny and the Three Goats, a Norse tale. Now you shall hear, once there was a boy named Johnny, and he had 3 goats. All day long those goats leaped and skipped and climbed way up on the top of the hill, but every night Johnny went to fetch them and drove them home. One evening the frisky things leaped out of the road over a fence and into a turnip field, and try as he would, Johnny could not get them to come out again. There they were, and there they stayed. Then the boy sat down on the hillside and cried. As he sat there, a hare came along. "Why do you cry?" asked the hare. "I cry because I can't get the goats out of the turnip field," answered Johnny. "I'll get the goats out of the turnip field," said the hare. So he tried, and he tried, but the goats would not come. Then the hare sat down beside Johnny and began to cry too. Along came a fox. "Why do you cry?" asked the fox. "I cry because the boy cries," said the hare, "and the boy cries because he cannot get the goats out of the field." "I'll get the goats out of the turnip field," said the fox. So the fox tried and tried and tried, but the goats would not come. Then the fox sat down beside Johnny and the hare and began to cry too. Pretty soon along came a wolf. "Why do you cry?" asked the wolf. "I cry because the hare cries," said the fox, "and the hare cries because the boy cries, and the boy cries because he can't get the goats out of the turnip field." "I'll get the goats out of the turnip field," said the wolf. So he tried and tried, and he tried and tried, and he tried, but the goats would not leave the field. So the wolf sat down beside Johnny and the hare and the fox and began to cry too. After a little bee flew over the hill and saw them all sitting there and crying for dear life. "Boo-hoo, boo-hoo, boo-hoo." "Why do you cry?" said the bee to the wolf. "I cry because the fox cries," said the wolf. "And the fox cries because the hare cries, and the hare cries because the boy cries, and the boy cries because he can't get the goats out of the turnip field." "Much good it does to sit there and cry about it," said the bee. "I'll get the goats out of the turnip field." Then the great big wolf, and the great big fox, and the great big hare, and the great big boy all stopped boo-hooing a moment to poke fun at the tiny bee. "You get the goats out of the turnip field when we could not? That's a joke. Ho, ho!" But the tiny bee flew away into the turnip field and lit the ear of one of the goats, and all he said was bzz, 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 and out ran the goats, every one. The end.